exactly meant, and what is your point of view? Well, I didn't say a group of men politics with religion. I don't think I said such a thing. I said that unfortunately there is a group of people who misunderstand the word sunnah to exclusively mean, and I gave just two examples. One to mean politics, and one to mean just the extraordinary act outside of the belief. And I said that the sunnah in the context which I was using it in the speech means everything which the Prophet ﷺ came with, which is rooted first and foremost in the beliefs. And I gave an example of some of the works of the earliest scholars of Islam, like Imam Ahmed, who wrote a book called Kitab al-Sunnah, which affirms the beliefs of Ahl Sunnah, and he called it as-Sunnah. And this book is in 2 volumes, and it's printed and is widespread around the Islamic world. And likewise his son Abdullah, and likewise al-Lalakai, and likewise al-Tabari. He has a book called Sarih al-Sunnah, and likewise who else? Subhanallah. Others, many other scholars that I can't seem to remember right now, but As-Sijzi. And also I said Abu Dawood, in his 3rd volume of his Sunan, there's a book called Kitab al-Sunnah. Open that book up, because this is in English and you can see. Go to the 3rd volume of Abu Dawood, and if a brother here has a 3rd volume of Abu Dawood, I ask him to bring it up to the front so we can see it. And let us open that book, and you will find in there Kitab al-Sunnah, and let us flip through those pages, you only find mentions issues of belief. So I said the scholars first and foremost understood the term Sunnah to refer to the beliefs in Islam. But I said that the Sunnah in this context, of course, means everything the Prophet ﷺ came with, which includes politics. But what is the foundation of the Sunnah? Belief. Different when you try to make the branch and what is rooted, and you make the foundation a branch, and you make a secondary matter the foundation. That is where the problem occurs. Wallahu a'lam. What is the position of qiyas in Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah? Well, if you mean qiyas in the sense of linguistical sense, and that's probably what I mentioned, I might have said something in that sense, in the linguistical sense to mean, and I meant it in the sense of philosophical speculation and drawing analogy through philosophical reasoning. This does not occur in the Sunnah. And that is why Imam al-Barbahari said in his book, Kitab al-Sharh al-Sunnah, which deals only with beliefs, he says that there is no qiyas in the Sunnah. Meaning in the sense that you cannot come now and say, well, concerning Allah's attributes, I'm going to make an analogy with this and this and that. In this sense, it does not exist. But if you mean qiyas, in the sense as a principle for the actions of Islam, for the halal and the haram and the different acts of worship, this is one of the 4 major principles of Ahl Sunnah Jama'ah, which they base their actions and their worship upon, being the Book of Allah, the Sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ, the affirmed consensus of the Salaf, and also the majority of them accept qiyas as a 4th principle, as the scholars have mentioned in the books. Okay, could you please explain what are the Mu'tazila, what are their beliefs? Inshallah, tomorrow we hope to get into that subject. Would you say to someone who neither believes, affirms, nor disbelieves, rejects the punishment of the grave? Okay, if a person neither affirms nor rejects the punishment of the grave, we'd bring the person and we would explain to him those verses in the Quran which indicate, and those hadith which are clear-cut, talking about the punishment of the grave. And these narrations are what is known as mutawatir. They are so many in meaning that it's impossible to be a lie. And all the scholars of Islam have affirmed the punishment of the grave. You cannot open up a single book written by the scholars of Sunnah except you will find an issue concerning the punishment of the grave and the reward of the grave, and the trial, the fitna of the grave. Indeed, one of the issues of Mu'tazila, since that was the question before, was they used to reject the punishment of the grave. So if a person is ignorant, we teach him. And if a person resists upon his ignorance, then this is an issue where he has now entered upon in a matter of very great danger. As Imam Ahmed says, that whoever rejects the hadith is upon the edge of destruction. Upon the edge of destruction. And then he related the verse in the Quran, he recited, فَلْيَحْذَرَ الَّذِينَ يُخَالِفُونَ عَنْ أَمْرِهِ أَنْ تُصِيبُهُمْ فِتْنَةٌ أَوْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Let those beware who go against his command, meaning the Prophet Muhammad's command, whether it's a report or a command or information, that Allah might strike them with a fitna or a severe punishment. Then Imam Ahmed said, do you know what fitna is? It is shirk, or it is kufr. So therefore, a person who rejects the hadith is on the edge of destruction, meaning he's on the edge of falling into disbelief. Nasallahu al-afiyah. Okay, I know if I don't believe in the 6 articles of faith, and I am taken out of the fold of Islam. But if I don't believe in the punishment of the grave or Dajjal, does that take me out of the fold of Islam? Just like I explained now. If a person is ignorant, he is taught. Obviously, the Muslims living in lands where there are not Muslim scholars like in the West, or people who are new to Islam, they are to be taught concerning the correct beliefs. They are to be taught. As far as a person be considered a disbeliever, this is judged by case, each person by each person, to see why is the person rejecting this. And this is not to be done by people, ordinary Muslims like myself and like most of the attendees of this conference. This is only to be done by the scholars of Islam and only in an Islamic court or by an Islamic judge. They're the ones who will pass the judgment if the person is a disbeliever or not. It is narrated from Umar al-Khattab, who said, I wish the Prophet ﷺ explained three things. Kalala, khilafa, and riba. Is this sahih? Please explain, jazakumullah khairan. This question I refer to Sheikh Ali al-Halabi, inshallah, in the next session to explain it, since I don't want to discuss this. I don't have anything to add to it.